Hi guys, welcome to another scrapbooking process video. I have here a bunch of photos that I have printed out for my September project life, which I'm hoping to fit on a 2-page spread. And so here are those 2 pages, the templates for them. And I have these photos printed in my standard sizes. If you've watched my videos before, you know the sizes that I print. I print all of my portrait photos in 3x4 size and all of my horizontal photos in 4x6 size, except for a couple of exceptions. None of those happened here today, so I don't have to talk about those. But the one exception actually is screenshots. So for screenshots, I print them at, I think it's 2x4. Yes, 2x4 inches, that all is. And so as you can see, I am just kind of spreading those photos across my 2 pages of my templates. And I had a couple of things here set aside that just random project life supplies. So I'm pulling those out so I have the right page protectors and whatnot. And as you can see, it's pretty crowded. I don't have much room for journaling or filler cards with the layout that I have going so far. Even though it's a pretty rough layout, I can tell I'm going to need more space. So I'm actually going to add an insert. At first, I'm thinking I'll use some flips so that I can put more journaling and photos in the space that I have using these flips. They're called Flip Photo Pockets by Snap by Simple Stories. But the more I think about all that I have to say and all of the photos that I have here, the more I think that they're not going to fit on a 2-page spread. So I just grabbed another Becky Higgins page protector. I use Design A almost exclusively these days. I do have a bunch of other designs, but I never use them. So you can keep that other side, especially if you have a fuse tool, because it's handy to have some extra scraps either for practicing or checking if your tool is heated up. But I have already collected so many of those that I just throw away my scraps at this point. I have a little stash of scraps that I use. So I'm thinking, as far as deciding what to go in my insert, I try to pick things that kind of go together thematically. So for example, I have 3 photos and a couple of stories to tell about the back to school transition. And so those are over on the left-hand side of that template that's holding my insert. And then I have that photo of our Italian family, and I will tell a story about that, and that will be on the back side. And that will include mostly just that photo and some journaling cards and maybe a filler card or something. So because it's September and we're starting school, that's a pretty big transition for us. So amongst the Ali Edwards kits that I have, the stories kits, is one called Transitions. Or Transition, I can't remember which it's called, but I think it was the story kit for September, I think. Anyhow, I'm pulling out that kit and just having a look at what embellishments and what stamps and cards might go well for the transition to school. Now, I don't want to use all of this kit on this because I actually have a couple of other ideas of stories that I want to tell with this kit. And what I typically do with the Ali Edwards Stories kits, and I also get the stamp set, you can see me looking at it right now, is I scrapbook kind of like separate stories that don't end up going in my project life. I have a smaller album that I just basically collect my own personal stories. It's a bit of a book of me, but it's not just me. It's kind of like me and my family, just like a more detailed story version of project life is what I do in that separate album. I have a couple of videos on my channel that go into that. So you saw me just look through that kit, and I just took out a couple of pieces that I might use, like mostly embellishments that go with the story that I want to tell. And then there are also a couple of transition themed pieces in the September Stories by the Month kit, just because it's September, and I think that when they designed it, they knew that it's a time of transition. So as you can see, I'm just filling out that template. And now here, this isn't a flat page template. This is 2 halves of the same half page protector, if you know what I mean. So everything on the left side of that template will be on the front of the insert, and everything on the right side of that template will be on the back side of that insert. And the insert is right there beside it. You can see it underneath of those heart stickers. So I'm having a look through the September Stories by the Month kit, but I'm also looking into my own stash. You saw I pulled out a pile of cards there. That's because I didn't have enough journaling cards basically to tell the stories that I wanted to tell. So I just went into my stash and looked through some other cards, some other older Ali Edwards leftover cards from other kits. So I seem to have the basic layout here, and I'm putting that transitions stamp set on top of that photo just so I remember that I want to use one of those on that photo. And now I'm going to read this for you. It says, back to school this year was in some ways really needed. We had been out of any kind of routine since March, and the kids needed to socialize, ... But with so many changes, it was also quite daunting. Starting high school was a bit harder for Liv because of this. And then there is more to the story, but you'll see how I document that as I go. So I'm putting that on this transitions card. It says transitions, find the beauty. And this is one of the Ali Edwards cards. I'm pretty sure it's from the September Stories by the Month kit. And so I am using my Sharpie pen to do this journaling. It's my favorite journaling pen. I really, really love it. It's not good for slick surfaces, but I also picked out a couple of chipboard pieces from the September Stories by the Month kit, including that back to school one that I put on the picture of Sophie, and then this Hello Routine heart-shaped one that I'm putting on the picture of Liv. And I am going to still use a flip, even though like a flip the flap from Simple Stories. And I was going to actually do two flips here, but it's actually hard to put two flips side by side on an insert. So I'm going to change my mind about that. Now here I'm just using this. This is a card I got from my stash, and I put the photo on so it covered the phrase that was on the card. And now along the edges, I'm writing the names of the people in that photo. This is one of those memories from Facebook. And then on the other side, I'm putting the date and that it was taken at Fox Hollow Preschool. It was basically the first day of school for these 4 kids. And now I'm putting it underneath of the photo of Liv, basically 11 years later. It's starting grade 10. So now again, I want more pink on this page, so I went into my pink 3x4 cards that I keep in my stash, and I just grabbed, as you saw, I had a whole chunk of them, and I just found one that worked. And I actually found 2 that worked. I needed one for below Sophie's photo, and then I also needed one for the back side of the flip of Liv's photo. So right here, I'm doing some more journaling, and it says not only had she not had orientation due to lockdown, but she was facing so much uncertainty. How would students deal with mask wearing, distancing, etc.? Despite all this, Liv was not terribly nervous about her first day, just a few jitters, and the day went very well. And then that card says farewell summer, and I thought that was a good card to use on the first day of school. It is technically still summer until a little bit into the month, but we always think about, the beginning of school as being the end of summer. Just underlining my journaling, which I like to do. I do that fairly consistently in my pages for 2020 and 2019. And, I just put flip me on the chipboard piece just to let people know that this is an interactive card. And now in this pink card that I got out of my stash, it's probably a hip kit card, I'm guessing. I'm thinking about what I want to do with it. I basically want to put some type of an embellishment, and so I got this little piece of acrylic. It's from the Scraptastic Kit Club from way back in the day, and I'm using some Tombow Mono multi-adhesive to glue it. It's my favorite glue for gluing non-paper to paper, and so it's going to hold this little origami crane in place very, very well. And then I'll do some journaling alongside it, again using that same Sharpie pen. It says, because she was returning to the same school as last year, Sophie was not very nervous to return. Having been isolated from her friends for so long, she was happy to see the gang again. And then I'll just underline that one as well. And there's so much green on this page, both sides of the page, that I just wanted to pull out the pink. There's pink in a couple of the different cards, so that's why I went with that card right there. And I'm going to just put these together in the pocket as I go. Just because I basically, whenever I have a insert, I try to get the insert scrapped first, because it kind of frees me up. I don't know, I have a hard time not thinking about the insert until it's done. And so it's just easier for me to get it over with and do it at the outset, and then I can put it out of my mind and really focus on the other 2 pages, like the main 2 pages. Now here I forgot to condition this stamp before I placed it on my page, and so it did stick to the photo a bit more than it should have, but it didn't cause too many problems. Sometimes it'll pull off a little bit of the ink. So you just want to make sure that if you do that you don't move it, which is part of the reason why I'm using my MISTI tool here, just to help me position it. It turned out I didn't have to stamp it twice, but part of that is because I was able to stamp it in exactly the same place that it was stuck before. And now this is another chipboard piece that came in the Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards, and I did a last minute switch. I was going to put it off to the side, but I decided to put it right under the phrase, and now I'm just outlining it with that Sharpie pen again. And it's a paper sticker, so you don't need a slick surface. And now this says, "Let's stay home." And then I was going to say "not by choice" or something like that, but I didn't really like how that looked. And then this chipboard sticker worked really well. It says, "It's hard because it's hard." And I thought from a design perspective, it looks really nice. And it does fit with the journaling that I'm going to be writing on this thing. So you saw me stamp "this part is just hard," because this was a very, very emotional day for all of us. This was supposed to be our Italian student for the year, and she, of course, because of the pandemic, could not make it. And we were pretty sure that she wouldn't be able to make it, but it was, like they were telling us to be hopeful and that you never know and all that stuff. Students were allowed to come into the country on a student visa, and that's what she was going to have. And so it looked like maybe she was going to make it, but spoiler alert, she didn't make it. And it was really quite a devastating weekend when she found out, because she had worked really hard and gotten a scholarship to come here, and it was very difficult on all of us. We've kind of been getting to know each other over the past several months and have grown quite fond of one another. So it would have been really nice, but anyhow. So what I'm writing here is FaceTiming with Simona, Sylvia, and Giancarlo, our Italian family, after receiving the sad news that Sylvia could not come to Canada this semester. And so at this point, she's still holding out hope that she can come in January, but today is actually another sad day, because today we found out for certain that she will not be coming for second semester either. And then she graduates, so that's the end of her possibility of coming and staying with us. So anyhow, it says right here, "Sylvia is a remarkable young woman from Italy. We were hoping she would join our family for the school year, but due to the pandemic, the international student program was canceled this year." And the spacing is kind of weird on this, and so the way that I'm making it look like maybe I did that on purpose is to put a couple of these little heart embellishments. These are just heartwood veneer shapes that came in the September Stories by the Month kit. So now I will slide all of these right into the pockets, and this card is a little bit big. The Becky Higgins page protectors always have one 3x4 pocket that's a little bit small, so you have to do a little bit of shaving off the side of it. And now that everything is in its place, I'm going to adhere that flip the flap pocket. And now my insert is complete. So now I'm just moving on to this, to the main pages for September. And as you can see, that top photo, the 4x6 photo over on the left-hand side of the page, has a girl, Maddie, wearing a really bright red shirt, also the bright red bookshelf. So I put that bright red quote card down diagonally from it just to balance off those two bright bursts of red. And I really like that you'll be able to see both of those when the insert is in place, is basically what I'm trying to say. So this is how I store my Project Life cards, in this container that is from Close to My Heart. And it is a, what is it? Actually, is it a Close to My Heart? Yeah, it is. It's a Close to My Heart medium storage case. They actually don't make this anymore, but I took the lid off of it so that I could store it in my Razcog. And as you can see, I have my cards all organized, and they're organized by color mostly, but then I do keep my Ali Edwards cards out as a separate category. And so just flipped through and pulled out a 4x6 card, the one with that floral pattern that picks up on the other colors that are already on the page, and then a couple of 3x4 cards as well to put behind things. Now, I do keep my wood veneer still, after all these years, in these cases that clip together. They were from Michael's. I do get a lot of questions about them every time I pull them up. I'm not sure if you can still get them at Michael's because I haven't been there in a long, long time, like a couple of years. But they used to be at Michael's. So I'm just gluing these two identical wood veneer arrows to the card. This quote is one of my favorites. It says, "This is the season she will make beautiful things, not perfect things, but honest things that speak to who she is and who she is called to be." And so I put two creative things on either side of it, and I just wanted to make it clear that that quote is referring to both of the photos on either side of that. Now, I'm so disappointed that this circle chipboard piece from the Transition Story Kit does not fit below the September Memories card, but that's okay because I found some other chipboard pieces here. And I'm just placing them all around, and then I'll put the butterfly one over on the other. This is September card, which will end up being an insert. There's room there for journaling, but I'm not going to use it for journaling. So as you can see, I'm just going through all of the chipboard pieces that come in this Stories by the Month kit for September, and I'm just putting them all over the place. There were only two that I wasn't able to use this month. I'm having a look to see if the stamp set is going to be needed anywhere, but I don't think so. I actually do very little stamping, and I didn't pull from my stash very much at all for this page. Just because I'm kind of I'm behind, and so I'm just trying to move along quickly and get product in the pages and stories told. So that chipboard piece under the September, you are the doorway to the season that awakens my soul. It says, "Let's begin all over again and give thanks for all that we are." And then I put a "Let's Do This" sticker up by Maddie's head, just because it looks like they're ready for their sleepover. And then one that says September Stories down on the picture of my office. And so here we go. Now that I kind of put the chipboard pieces everywhere that it needed to go, I'm going to just kind of like move card by card by card and add whatever captioning or journaling or titles that I need to put. So here I'm looking through my label sticker stash because I want to put a little caption on this. And I pulled out these two sets of words from Ali Edwards from other kits, and these are the hearts that go with this kit, with the September kit. And these are some little cut apart pieces that have been floating around in my stash for a while. So I'm going to try to use all of them today, just so that they're not floating around like that anymore. So that one's going to hold my title quite nicely. And then I really like layering these circular Martha Stewart labels behind things. And so that's what I'm going to do here. I don't know if you can still get those Martha Stewart labels. They were at Staples maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It says "Sleepover with Maddie." And then I'm just going to glue that on and trim off the edge. And there we go. It needs a little something, so I'm just grabbing one of these wood veneer hearts that came with the September Stories by the Month kit, and add a little bit of Tombow Mono multi-adhesive there, and that card is good to go. Now in this card, this is a selfie that Liv took of herself at a clothing store, and I'm just trimming it down so it fits better on the card there. And all that I'm going to do here is add some journaling. And I'm again just going to use my Sharpie pen. It says careful back to school shopping at, and then on the other side I'm saying at Zoomy HSC, which is Halifax Shopping Center. And so that's captioned. And I might come back and add more to some of these, but for now that's enough. Now on this card that says loving at the bottom, I'm writing loving that our region is so far pretty safe with few cases. Every few days there might be 1 or 2 new cases identified, but masks and distancing really work. Our region has been really, I don't even want to say lucky. Like I feel like we're lucky and I am appreciative, but we are very compliant. We're following the rules and it really does work. It's, it's a bit of a sacrifice, but it is worth it. So I just put these heart stickers on the side of that. Basically, it's a screenshot. It says, can we all agree that in 2015, not a single person got the answer correct to where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And now this is a picture of Scott by a food truck that Sophie's friend's parents own. So I'm just writing on a little sticker from my stash here that says Sophie's friend Liv's family owns this ice cream truck. Oh, and I spelled owns wrong. I forgot the N. It's very confusing because Sophie has friends named Liv and Liv has friends named Sophie. So you never know what I'm talking about in these cards. This is a close-up of our beautiful plant that we have in our office. It's a fiddle leaf fig, and it's just thriving. So I wrote here on this label that I'm cutting apart, it says the fiddle leaf fig tree at the office is thriving during the pandemic. And that is a cut apart from Kelly Perky. She always had a 4x6 card that had labels on one side and then a pattern on the other side. So that's how I recognize the brand of that one. So that side is pretty much done. And now I'm just going to go card by card through this one and put this. This is a butterfly chipboard piece from the Transitions Story Kit that says bring on the next phase. We were really ready to just get back to school and get a bit of routine going. So I thought that sticker was a good one. Now on this eating card, I'm writing, thankful that Mom and Ray live near my office. Ray made me this delicious sandwich for lunch today. With Mom unwell, I'm glad to be able to drop in on Thursdays to see them. And of course, it's not today as in the day I'm scrapbooking, but it's today as in the day that I took that picture of the sandwich. Having a white bread sandwich was quite a splurge, and it was really yummy with delicious cheese. And I never make sandwiches. They seem too time consuming, but it's really worth it. We should make sandwiches more often. So again, I'm just going to layer another one of those cut apart labels that I'm trying to use up. This is the last one that's left. So I'm going to use this orange one here, and I'm layering it with another one of those Martha Stewart circle labels. They're so handy, and they're super thin too, so they're easy for layering. If you can find them anywhere, they come in a package with probably like 100 or 50 of them in a package. They're great. So I'm just going to put that label so that it doesn't cover the name of the wine, and then add a little heart wood veneer from the kit again, and another little tiny wood veneer just as an accent. And I'm just putting it so it's right on the label so it kind of interrupts the circle there. It says, loving this sweet summer wine. It's Jammy Red Rue by Yellowtail, and it's like a really, we usually like dry wine, but for some reason this wine really appeals to us. It's like a juicy summer wine, so I always put it in the fridge and make it super cold. It's so delicious. Don't usually drink red wine chilled, but this one is delicious chilled. So I'm just looking at these phrase stickers that I had pulled out a few minutes ago just to see if there's anything relevant here. And I'm pulling out two, one from the pink and one from the green. The pink one says doing the work, and the green one says, the gray one says around here. I put those on the photo of me at work with my mask. And then this one is a chipboard piece that says yes, and I'm just cutting it off in two different places here. I didn't want to cover up too much of Liv's henna. And then I'm going to find another one of those label stickers. I think this time I'm going to use a sticker, but this is also Kelly Perky. Sticking it up there, and I'm going to write, Liv drew her own henna designs on her hand. And so we bought henna in PEI, And she brought it home and spent an evening doing these elaborate designs, and she did such a great job. I really love how it turned out. I will underline those as well, and it needs a little something, right? So I was going to add that wood veneer, but it was too bulky, so I went into my stash and got 2 more wood veneers. Now, because all the other wood veneer hearts on this page are like a wonky heart and not a perfect one, I'm trying to find wonky hearts in my stash, but they're all the wrong size and shape, so I got 2 perfect hearts, but it's okay. They look fine. And I'm putting them at a bit of an angle so that they look a little bit wonkier than if they were lined up straight. One of them is an outline heart and the other one is just a solid tiny little one. And now this is a photo of the embroidery that I'm doing. So I'm going to put a label here. And on this label, I'm going to write, in August, I started embroidery again. Just as simple as that. Underline that, and that card is good to go. So I am going to add one thing up to this. It's basically like a meme or whatever that I printed up here. It says, 2020 has been a total disaster when a hurricane is heading directly at you and you're like, meh. Just wanting to capture some of that sense of 2020 being a very unusual year that we're all kind of talking about. I'm spreading some of these hearts around my page. These again came in the Stories by the Month kit this month for September. And just adding them every here and there for a burst of color. I really like that black one right there on that card. And that, my friends, is all she wrote. So here are some photos. And I really like how with Project Life, sometimes you can just go super fast like I did for these past couple of pages, and it still looks really great and you capture everything. It doesn't have to be in super detail. And here's how they look in the book with the insert page in place. And then here's how it looks with the insert page turned. So thank you so much for watching this process video. Take care and have a really great scrappy week. If you like this video, please subscribe and check out the other videos that I have on my channel.